was another one who's been sort of convinced by this solidarity argument. And although it pains me to say it, when we got in touch with him, he actually gave us a bright side to all of this.
I'd be lying if I didn't admit that some of the better together patter has been getting to me. Not the facile arguments, of course, just the general subliminal message that if you keep things together, they're stronger. I've been trying it, and I think I probably do feel stronger. Find it hard walking though. But it's fixed by paranoia. I only go to the shops if I can get 5 of my pals to come with me, and we just buy 6 times as much of everything. See, when we walk in the door of our local co-op, nobody messes with us. Of course, nobody really messed with me when I went on my own, but you never know when one of those checkout operators might pull a gun. On the downside, I've got 16 litres of tomato ketchup in the cupboard. I really don't like tomato ketchup. But even though they're starting to persuade me, I think they might be doomed. I've been reading Brian Wilson and the Scotsman going on about artificial borders and boundaries, and while I didn't completely get what he was on about, he did make me realise that I hadn't left enough space in my heart for hatred. So I went round to my pal's flat and took his sitting room wall down with a sledgehammer. The abuse that I got from him and his neighbour. Nae gratitude. See what you mean, Brian? Fucking separatists.
You've heard from many people tonight about why this doesn't seem to be such a good idea, but I'm the man that started the project, so I suppose I should give you my reasons as to why I can't continue with it anymore, and I just can't do it. This is coming from a person, I've supported independence as long as I can remember. I've been involved in, a lot of other political projects, all that sort of stop the war stuff and the G8 and many other things, and I've always been involved in politics, but independence was always something that was there for me. I was never a party guy, but it just seemed so obvious to me that we should have independence. I always wondered, why everyone else and why not us? So I think it's only fair that I give my reasons why I can't support it anymore. And it's basically because of the offensive behaviour bill, but that'll only make sense if I can explain a little bit of my history. You see, as an independent supporter, I was strangely worried when we got devolution because I thought that the Scottish Parliament might at some point make a bad law. And I knew that if they made a bad law, all their nefarious reasons for supporting independence and my cybernat hell could come out. It would just be a terrible prospect because, you see, I grew up under some really good United Kingdom governments. I grew up under Thatcher, and then we moved on to John Major and Tony Blair, and those governments taught me that Westminster would never make a bad law, not even one. And such a calibre of people, if we have an independent country, how could we find people with the competence and the get-go spirit of Norman Lamont, or the humility and perspicacity of Jeff Hoon, or even the sanity and understanding of someone like Nadine Dorris? Just one bad law could put in jeopardy our ability to hide our nefarious plans to make an independent Scotland and stop people like that running our country. Compared with just the perfect record of Westminster, where like all of those laws against Scottish people, where people were hanged and where people were brutally oppressed just for speaking Gaelic, or these kind of things, they must have been for our own good in some way. And this is why it must be better together, because we can only get people of the high calibre that can understand those kind of policies, that although they seem to hurt us, it's only for our own good. We can only get that in the larger talent pool of a bigger nation, so that we don't really have any say in it. It can only be like that. That must be it. So I suppose this is goodbye from the Scottish Independence podcast and the For All That podcast. We almost got to 50 episodes altogether, but now that we've had it explained to us, we've realised it just wasn't worth it. Goodbye.
yourself. Paradise I hear my love. Yeah. Things I get from bad to worst every day. You know, see, things I get from bad to worst every day. You think you had it hard last year? Well, you better tighten up your belt and rest up in yourself. Paradise I hear my love. This I hear my love. This I hear my love. You know, see. You know, see.